When was the first time that you moved out of your house, of your hometown, and went and lived in a completely alien city, all by yourself?
Hmm.
Maybe with someone else, but not particularly someone that you're acquainted to.
2020,
Hmm.
moved out of Calcutta, shifted to Bangalore for work. But yeah, it was, at least for me, I was like, when it happened, I was like, oh, finally.
Hmm.
When I first got that call.
So you always wanted to move out.
Always wanted to move out, yeah. Always wanted to move out from the house.
Hmm.
Always wanted to move out from the city as well.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Right. And then when you did actually move out, and you were where you always wanted to be,
Yeah.
what was no, how was it different or similar to whatever you had imagined it to be?
So the thing is, I hadn't, at that time, I remember I hadn't really imagined much about the living part
Mm,
because, that was also the first time I was moving to a completely different city with a completely new job. So I
mm,
feel like the job part took up like 90% of space in my head.
mm,
The living part, that okay, similar to my expectations, dissimilar to my expectations, that honestly came in waves.
mm.
And what, it's 2024 now. And I mean, even now, like, they're just those small things that just still keep coming in waves. So I don't think
What,
it
what
all
what
came
do
at
you mean?
once.
Like coming in waves, as in they make you reconsider your decision,
No,
or
not that way. It's like, uh, it's not like, okay, I just started living on my own and then everything hit me all at once and I overcame it and that was that, I've just like mastered it. It's not that way. Like, I remember the first struggle that I felt. I shouldn't say struggle because it'll sound really inconsequential. But I remember, COVID hadn't hit yet, so I was going to office. And I think I was going to office like 6 days a week, which was crazy in my mind because I was like, oh my God, but then it was startup, so I was like, okay, fine. So that Sunday was the only day, right? I think like that first struggle in my mind was, what do I do with that Sunday?
Hmm.
So a part of me knows that, oh my God, I need to do something crazy. I need to do something super exciting because again, my 6 day work week will start. Like, I better make really good use of
Make
this
the most
Sunday.
of it?
But then I'm like, what do I do? Like,
Hmm.
okay, all right, but what do I do?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because if you're at home and you're never actually just sitting in one place all the time, right? Because
Yeah.
your chacha is calling you, your mama is calling you, your mother is calling you, your sister, your sibling. There's always someone there. There's always some kind of you know uh, some kind of activity
Something's
going on.
always happening. Someone's always telling you, okay, we need to go here tomorrow. You need to go there tomorrow.
Mm,
Be it a chore, be it fun, be it whatever.
mm,
You're not like there left wondering like my 6 days will begin again. I need to make good use of that one day, but at the same time, you don't know what you're going to do.
mm.
So I think that was like the first tiniest thing that happened. Obviously, other things. So that's what I mean when I say comes in waves. Like, that's gone and like something else has come up.
Mm.
But yeah, what about you?
So for me, it was a bit different because the first time I moved out was not for work; it was for education.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I moved out. I went to Pune in 2014 for my college degree, and it was so for even me personally. I always had that had that itch to move out of my house, move out of my hometown, and live on my own. And so it was like something which was an eventuality, right? It was going to happen no matter what. uh, but yeah, it happened in 2014, and for me it was a bit different because very first year I was out, I had a couple of very bad experiences, and again, that's a conversation for another time. But so in those moments, there were many times when I thought, okay, fuck everything, I just want to go back, or let's go back home. I think it was my parents that sort of pushed me to not take that decision.
Hmm.
And when I look back now, I think it was the most pivotal sort of point in my life, and everything that I am today, or I, at least in my mind, I am way better off now, than I would have been if I did not move out.
Right.
And I think the point that I'm trying to make is, and the point that I'm trying to get at is, I think personally, that everyone in their life, at least once, no matter how long it is for, right, could be a couple of years, a decade, for work, for education, uh, they should definitely move out. Move out of the comfort of their homes, their families, their friends, and just go out and see, what the big wide world has to offer.
Yeah.
And it's very, very important because, I feel like if people don't do that, they get stuck in that, you know, there's no ambiguity, I feel, in life. There is everything, at least in terms of, even if you're out working, let's say, okay, after work, I know where I have to go back to. I know what I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
So so your structure is like set, and if something goes south, and I feel like it's easier to take risks if you're staying at home. Risks as in, it's easier to be more adventurous when you're at home because you
Right.
know if something does go south, your
Yeah.
parents are at home, right? Your uncle is probably a kilometer away.
Not just that, it's like no matter what happens,
Hmm.
it's like you know that okay, I have a place to come back to, a place filled with people who will just like take care of me or help me or
And
whatever.
the interesting thing is like you don't think of it that way, but subconsciously it's
Yeah,
there, right? And you
absolutely.
only feel it once you move out.
Yeah.
You only feel that, once you move out, and I think it really shapes, how a person evolves and learns and grows,
Yeah.
and it's very important for that very reason for everyone to move out once. Because now if I think of myself and I imagine in a parallel world, if I had not moved out, or if I made the decision to drop everything and come back home,
Yeah.
I feel like my life would be very, very different. And maybe I would not have been a different person. Obviously, I would not have been a different person. I would still be the same person. But I feel like there would be a lot less color,
Yeah,
in.
absolutely. And I feel like while you're staying with your parents, like even after you've hit that 18-year-old, 21-year-old mark, yes, you're an adult, but until and unless you absolutely move out and you start staying on your own, and once again, I mean, on your own, I mean, can be at your hostel with your classmates or with friends or just alone. But that is when I feel like when you're moving out is when you really like get that feel of what being an adult is really like.
And I feel like that's also when you can, realize your true potential. It kind of feels, and if you've seen, fantasy movies or anime, you've seen where these characters, they have these limiters on them, right? Like, yeah, they're wearing a belt or some shoes, which
Yeah.
is like,
Rock Lee.
yeah, it's trying to curb their power or their potential because they don't want to go all out and everything. I feel like once you make that switch, once you get on that plane or that train or that bus, or get in that car, and you go somewhere which is, further away from what you're familiar with, that those shackles come off, right? And not shackles that were probably imprisoning you, but shackles that did not let you, understand your true potential.
Yeah.
Because I think you don't know yourself how far you can go, right? Or what you're capable of until you actually throw yourself in the water, right? And this is like one of those situations where you have to do first and think later. And
So
I
tell me something in all the time that you have, stayed away from your family compared to the time that you have stayed with them. Was that one or two thing that just like even now there's just a big contrast or just a huge difference that stands out?
So obviously, number one is ease of access, right? Or ease of living. I think that is something that no matter if you've lived outside for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, if you come back home, that contrast is always going to be there. And ease of living, I think you can break it down in many parts, right? Number one is obviously your food being available to you, right?
That
Probably,
is major.
yeah, I think that is one of the biggest, that is pretty much, the commonest point you can find between, different people who moved out. They will probably all concur on, this one thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, food obviously, your food is always there because your family probably has a cook. or your mom is cooking or someone in your family is cooking.
Mm.
So there's always that ease of thinking, okay, you don't have to worry about food,
Yeah.
and it's always there in plenty. So that is number one. And aside from food, I think ease of living also comes from familiarity, right? Which is also something which and it starts with the smallest of things, right? Knowing which cup you're going to drink your morning coffee
Yeah.
in, to knowing exactly how far do you have to walk after getting out of your house to reach the samosa shop,
Yeah.
and knowing where exactly you'll go if you had to go out for dinner, where exactly you'll go if you had to go out for partying, or if you had to go out for a coffee. I think familiarity is something uh, which is the cause of feeling that ease
Mm.
in life, and that is, I think, something that no matter how long you've been away for, that never
Yeah.
goes away. And I feel like that is the limiter, right? The limiter that I was talking about earlier. That familiarity and that ease of living is the limiter, which does not let you realize your potential.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the beauty of it is that even if you live outside for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and you come back, it's not like, and let's say you stayed out for 5 years and then you're permanently back, right, back home. You don't lose those skills. You don't lose that comfort in ambiguity that you've
Yeah.
gained while being outside, right? I think comfort in ambiguity is something that living alone and outside your uh, safety net, that is what it teaches you. And once you're comfortable in ambiguity, I feel like you can conquer the world, right?
Yeah.
Because no
Absolutely.
matter what situation is thrown at you, you know how to break it down
Yeah.
and how to move forward with what you
Yeah.
have.
Just knowing that you can navigate through it in
Right.
whatever way.
Right. And these are obviously, again, a bit philosophical, and you might say intangible skills, right? But then think about the tangible skills that you learn, right? How to fill your electricity bill,
Yeah.
probably how to iron your clothes, probably how to wash your clothes if you don't have a washing machine, and how to pay your rent on time, how to negotiate to get a house, how brokerage works, and how how deposit security
Yeah.
deposits work, how everyone in the world is out there to make a fool out of you,
Yes.
and take advantage, and somehow get monetary advantage over you, right?
Yeah.
And how you have to combat those things.
Yeah.
uh, you basically learn how the big wide world is, right? And I think that is very, very important and priceless, I think, as human beings, to experience and learn once in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, like food was a big thing, and even now I can just feel the difference.
Mm.
I think another thing that I realized when I moved out in 2020 was so I could already cook a few things when I was home staying with my family, but then I never had to.
Mm.
So it's like sometimes in the weekend I just make different types of chicken. People love that, and that was that. I was like, I like eating chicken. I don't need to learn anything else.
Mm.
Now, cut to I move out and I realize I cannot boil an egg properly. I cannot make rice. I'm like, okay. So, the way I struggled with boiling an egg, I can't even tell you. And I did not even know that the egg boiler was a thing, by the way. So, I didn't even know that. So, the number of eggs I wasted, like, it's a shame.
Mm.
So, that was one. And then making rice, like I think I did not have rice for the longest time because I just couldn't strain the water. I didn't know how it worked, so every time it would come out all mushy and watery. And I remember the first time I made dal, is like in my mind I knew that okay, you know, to put masala in dal, masala goes in dal,
Mm.
and you had to boil the dal. Now a lot of people might say, why didn't you just Google it or go to YouTube? Because in my mind I knew how to make it. You boil the dal, you put the masala. So I boiled the dal, and what happened is I put the dust masala aise hi. And because I didn't know measurements also, it was like, I don't know, it was dal that could feed some 4 to 5 people. Even I couldn't eat it because I did not know that you need to saute the masala in the oil and then put the boiled dal there. So I had to throw the entire
I,
thing.
I I just learned that for the first time right now.
But yeah, like
See,
I
it's
did
been
not know.
it's been like 7, I think more than that. It's been 9 years I've been out of my house and I still didn't know that. So yeah, I mean that's what right. And the thing is, it's not that you did not know how to cook and you'll suddenly learn how to cook. Obviously, that will
Yeah,
happen, but the fact is you have to cook, right? Or you
yeah,
have to find an alternative. You
exactly.
cannot just sit and do nothing
Hmm.
and then next day it's just gonna be there, right? That's
Yeah,
the
and it was even tougher for me because I think 2020 I moved out in Feb. From March there was Janta curfew, and I remember for the next 5 to 6 months there was no Zomato Swiggy also. So you can't even order food. It's not an option. You cannot go out and eat. Not an option. Every restaurant, every cafe is closed. What do you do then? You have to cook inside, and not just that. Even if you feel like having fancy food that tastes good, you have to make it yourself. You don't have an option.
Yeah, I think there's a very famous quote, like you don't learn to be strong until being strong is the only option you have.
Yeah.
I think that's the spot that you get put on, right? It's like being shit scared of public speaking, and you probably having social anxiety, but then being thrown on stage and saying that you have to do this.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice,
Yeah.
and then you just do it because you don't have any other choice, right?
Yeah, I mean
So
that was me
that's.
also for the longest time because I cannot bargain with people for my life. I can't talk to people, I can't negotiate with people. And then all of a sudden here I am trying to negotiate with a broker, trying to negotiate with a landlord, trying to find a better deal. And also I'm like, oh my god, like even if I buy groceries from a normal place, I still have to like maybe not groceries but like other stuff. So I just need to at least like not negotiate for a better price, but at least make sure that person's not making a complete donkey out of me. So that was crazy because I take my mother everywhere. Like, okay, I don't have to worry because she's going to deal with the people and the money. Like, I don't need to worry about the negotiation bit. And I know ki nobody can make like an ullu of me because my mom's gonna do the negotiation. She's epic at it. I don't need to worry. And it was like literally like nothing. There was all I could do was ask her. I'm like, listen, this person is asking for this. What do I say? But even then, I have to do the negotiation, which I can't do. The talking I have to do. I can't just be like, talk to my
Yeah,
mom.
I mean, see, like, you know, building on what you were saying, like, so I love chai, right? I have like
Yeah.
5, 6 cups of chai a day. And obviously, I had no idea how to make chai because at home, my mom always used to make it for me, right? Or the maid always used to make it. And then when I went out to Pune for the first time, obviously, I don't have the money to hire a maid. And obviously, my mom is not there to make it for me. So I literally video called my mother, told her, hi, hey, teach me how to make tea. What should I do? Should I put the water first, and should I put the milk later?
Yeah.
Which how much of sugar should I put? How much of tea
Yeah.
powder should I put? And the thing is, I would have never have done that if I did not move out, right?
Yeah.
If I did not move out, I think probably till this day I would not know how to make chai.
I would never learn how to make rice ever. I'd be like, why? It's like the so I had a very weird idea. I was like, I learned to cook only interesting things that I like to eat. Everything else can go to hell. Rice is not interesting, so never mind. I'd never known how to make rice, which is like one of the most basic things ever. So, or boiled an egg.
Yeah, and I think also something that alongside of course all these basic life skills that you get to learn, and I say basic, but by no means does that diminish the importance of that, right? It might be basic life skills, but the most important skills, right, much more than let's say character or personality, because those come
Yeah.
after after you have these skills. Otherwise, but yeah, so secondly, right, and I think the second most important thing about moving out, aside from learning these life skills, is meeting people who come from diverse backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
Something that you might consider insane, right, or something that you have never seen or heard before is probably common practice in someone else's household,
Yes.
right, or someone else's culture. uh, and the thing is, when all these different people with different accents, because we live in a diverse country like India, even Indians have different ways of speaking in
Yes.
English, right, or speaking in Hindi even. And then when you meet them at your workplace, or or in your college or university or wherever the hell you are, you get to learn so much from so many different people, right? And you learn how to defend yourself in a way, because obviously, there's so many differing opinions coming in, because everyone has a different worldview, everyone has had different experiences throughout life,
Yeah.
and they're all coming in, and they are all discussing all these things, and you just get to, I think perspective is something that is the most important. If I had to name one single most important thing that moving out does, is it gives you perspective, right?
Yeah.
You're not that uh, the snotty nosed kid anymore who says, it's only my way that's the right way, and there's no other way to
Yeah.
reach a consensus or a conclusion. And I think the most important thing is also you learn to agree to disagree, which
Yeah.
is also something which rounds you up as a person. It makes you more rounded, because you understand, okay, not everyone thinks the way that you think, and you might not agree with the other person, but you guys can agree to disagree,
Right.
right? You guys can, okay, so this is my opinion, this is your opinion. We might not agree with each other, but at least we can respect each other, whatever they're saying. So perspective and personality, and obviously, learning about all these different people, which is more of a enrichment of your own life, right? Which you could say is enrichment of your own personal life. That is one. And second is, of course, in terms of your professional career. And it's not just, a lot of times people think, okay, if I have my own business, why do I need to meet with different people? But the world is rapidly changing, right? If you're a business owner, and if there's been a business in your generation, and the generation before you, and it's been running in your family, but if you don't adapt to the new world, the world is obviously changing, right? With AI and whatever. uh, so many different things are coming up. There's so many people doing so many innovative things. If you don't talk to them, if you don't broaden your horizon, I think you will be left behind, because at the end of the day, it is a rat race. Like, no matter how much pe- people say that, they don't care about money, or uh,
No, that's a lie. Anybody who will like sit in front of me and just say I couldn't care less about money, lie.
yeah.
Lying through their teeth.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's important, and it's the easiest proxy, in the sense that, so how do you measure someone, if a person is successful or not? Obviously, I'm not saying money is the only important thing, and money is the only way you can measure someone's success, or but it's the easiest proxy to use, right? Like, you can use that as a proxy for success, something which everyone understands.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's the truth, but that is the easiest proxy,
Mm.
right? I mean, if you're an artist, you might not care about it, or if you're in a different field, or there can be many things, right? Many ways to measure success, but I think that's the easiest way. And
Not just easiest, unfortunately, I feel like fortunately or unfortunately, everybody does it. Once again, if someone sits and says I don't,
right.
lies.
Yeah, and that's what, right? I think there is, and this is the reason why I hate people, who I hate these people who rally behind work from home, right? And like, oh no, it saves so much time, and it gives me access to be with my family. It gives me access to be. I mean, if you wanted to be with your family the whole time, I mean, what is the point? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it's most damaging, I think. See, if you have like 6, 10, 12 years of experience, I can understand, right? You've worked all year, because this work from home culture only started from 2020, right? From COVID.
Yeah.
And if you do have those many years of experience, you probably have enough experience of working in a proper workspace, right?
Just that, it's like, for those people it's different because they are like, we've put in the hours.
Right.
We've put in the hours where we have sacrificed enough family time. I know a lot of people like that, and now they're like, it's just not like the major thing in my life anymore.
Yeah, see, that makes a lot of sense. But for people that are just starting off their career, right, and this is something that I vehemently abhor, and when people who are just starting off their career, they want work from home, and they are following the trend where everyone wants to work from home. Like the amount that you can learn by sitting at home and joining Google Meets is so limited
Yeah.
compared to what you can while actually being in an office space, right? And I think that is also something which goes hand in hand with what we're discussing, right? Because in most cities, barring like the top couple of IT hubs like Bangalore or Gurgaon or whatever, Bombay, most people and their hometown, you're not going to get a good job opportunity sitting at home, right? You're not going to
Yeah.
get something because the opportunity is just not there. So you need to move out.
Especially after COVID.
Right. And it's such an important part of character building, right? It's not just about money. Like if obviously you're gonna save a lot more. And this is also something that that I see and that I don't understand. People who are just starting off working, right? They're like, oh, I'm not able to save any money, and if I work from home, I'll be able to save 10,000 rupees a month, or I'll be able to save 5,000 rupees a month. But what are you gonna do with 5,000, 10,000? That 5,000, 10,000 is nothing, right? It's invaluable in comparison to the skills that you will learn and the experiences that you will have if you're actually working in a office
Yeah,
and
I
you're
feel,
you're, you're imbibing
yeah.
the knowledge of all these people coming from all these different backgrounds and who have been working all their life, right? I think that is invaluable, and 5,000 rupees is nothing compared to that.
No, not just that, like I don't feel like it's just the professional part. I feel like also the personal bit, the money management bit. Like, okay, yes, you're earning just 20,000, but today you can say that, oh, I'll be saving so much money if I, work from home. Because once again, it's just trying to get back to that luxury, that comfort, where you actually don't have to contribute anything or as much or spend as much that you might have to if you were staying alone. Uh, I know a couple of people who've like taken that decision to actually go out of their house in a city like Bombay, where their first job was paying 15,000 or 16,000, which is crazy. But they were like, no, I'm going to learn how to manage my money.
Right.
And they stayed, and it's like, I'm going to save, even if I'm saving 100 rupees a month, I'm still going to do that. And I'm going to manage my life. I'll learn how to design my life. And I feel like that is another extremely invaluable thing that we don't learn if, we're just staying with our parents, with our family, because even if you're contributing, you're not the one who's managing the entire thing. You're not the one who's taking care of, okay, how much is going for the maid, the electricity, the water, the food, the groceries, any repairs, this and that. Like, you're not the one who's
Yeah, I
managing
think
all
I
of
think
that.
that's a great point. Like money management is all important, right? Like
Yeah.
finance and managing your personal finances is so important. Learning how to file your taxes and
Yeah.
all
Just
those
one
things.
second. I'll just quickly
Yeah,
check. That's fine.
thank God. But yeah, I mean, money management is so important, right? It's probably like,
Yeah.
if not the most important, one of the most important
Yeah, and the thing is, it
skills.
doesn't matter if you're earning 10,000 or a lakh.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to manage it, you'll always be whining that, oh, should go back home.
Right. Yeah, and that's it, right? Like just overall development of you as a human being, and contributing in some way to the betterment of this world. I think that is, if you don't move out of your house. I'm not saying like everyone, people who don't move out are idiots, or people who don't move out are like deserve to be outside the Noah's Ark if and ever Noah's Ark is created. I'm not saying that, but you as a person,
Yeah.
it is much more likely that you will be you know well rounded as an individual, have a better personality, be more open to new things, and be more understanding of other people's be more empathetic. I think empathy is a very
Of
important skill
course.
that you learn, and just having a broader horizon, right? And being ready for the next generation, right? Being ready for what is to come.
Yeah.
uh,
I think another way that it really shapes you is as long as you're with your family. Uh, Say, like, there are certain needs, okay? Can be anything, can be small, can be big. It's always your parents or your guardian who just know a guy who knows a guy who knows
yeah.
another guy. And suddenly, when you're staying all alone in a different city, You need to be that person who knows a guy who knows another guy, and it can be something as small as getting water when your water is over. And the usual place where you get your water, because I faced this during COVID, so I know, like, it's like, first of all, it hits you like, oh, I need to have a contact for getting drinking water. Like, it's not gonna flow, not just gonna flow from where I'm staying. So you have one contact, right? And you're like, okay, I'm set. Every time my water is over, I'll call this person. And then COVID hits, that water guy is sick, and you're like, okay. Like, I had to have a backup. Just like, I mean, that's a very small thing. But then when you're staying on your own, I feel like it also helps you become your own person. Like, you're like a very well-rounded person, in fact. And of course, that, like, you suddenly need to be the person who knows a doctor, who knows a specialist, who knows a maid, who knows like an electrician, who
Speaking
knows
of
a plumber.
doctors, actually, I think this is a very very important aspect that we haven't touched upon yet.
Yeah.
Is being sick,
Yeah.
right? And you actually don't realize this, right? You don't realize this at all. At least it was from my experience. Like, this is what happened, right? Even if you like at home, let's say you might be really sick, right? You have probably -4 temperature, what is it, -4?
Four. Four.
Four, sorry, you have four temperature, or whatever, and obviously you might be a little anxious, but you know that your family is there to
Yeah.
protect you, and you don't actually think about it that much, right? Subconsciously, okay, whatever happens, you'll be fine,
Yeah.
right, for the most part. But when you move out, and let's say you have a cold, or you even have a little bit of fever, you start panicking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not panicking, but it's a whole different ball game.
It is a
Like,
whole
being
different.
sick at home and being sick outside is just there's just so many different moving parts and elements to that
Yeah.
equation, right? Because number one, obviously, you need to figure out how you need to move towards a diagnosis, right? Like,
Yeah.
which, first of all, okay, should you visit a doctor or should you not visit a doctor?
Yeah.
What do you need to change right now? Do you need to take a steam? Do you need to know what medicines do you need to buy? Do you need to, if you're sick, you need to walk and get those medicines yourself, right? And then find out which is a good doctor. Go to that doctor, get the prescription, get the medicines, and you need to take care of yourself. Like,
That's the thing.
taking care of
Yeah.
yourself, I think, is one of, like, there is nothing more important in this world, right? Not even money is as important. Like, if you can't take care of yourself, uh there's just
Yeah, I think it makes you independent, but it makes you independent in that, like, true sense of independence where you, like, you just learn to take care of yourself properly. Because I feel like when we're staying with our family, with our parents, and this happened to me also. I remember I was returning from Ladakh, and the day I had my flight, I had terrible food poisoning, okay? But then at the same time, and I wasn't drinking, I wasn't eating, I was like almost feeling like I was half dead. But at the end of it, I knew that I was going home and I had people to take care of me. So it was like, all I needed to think of was, okay, I just need to get from Leh to Delhi and Delhi to Calcutta, and that's it. And that's exactly what I did. Like, I had a rucksack, I was wearing dirty boots, dirty track pants. I think I went inside my room. I just opened my rucksack and I just fell on the bed. I didn't even care. I mean, not that I could, or not that I was in the situation, but I didn't need to think of anything else. Like, okay, I might have to get up. I might have to see a doctor. I might have to think about medicine. I might have to think about food. It's like, because I knew my mother was there and she told me exactly what to eat, exactly what to do next. And it's literally having that safety net to fall back on.
and I think, the quote that adversity makes you stronger. I know it's not a quote, but it is a phrase that
Yeah.
people use.
Yeah.
I think ease of life, right? If you want like a very easy, rosy, cushiony life, then staying at home is obviously the best thing you can do, right? The easiest thing you can do. Uh, but if you move out, right? Like, we're talking, obviously life is not going to be as easy as it could have been.
Of course.
But I mean, you have to weigh the pros and cons, right? You have to weigh the differences, and if that's what you want, then stay home.
Yeah, but personally, I feel like there's something really beautiful about starting from scratch on your own and building something on your own. And yes, you might not get like a fancy, house at the very beginning, but or whatever, like that lifestyle from the very beginning. But I feel like there's just something very beautiful about building your own life on your own.
Also, another thing that there's just so many things actually. There's just so many things that you need to cover, and that just goes to show, right? Like I can go on and on
Yeah.
talking about this topic because there's just so many things that happen when you move out, right? And one of them is your bubble bursts, right? I think you're not the king of the world. I think that is the first realization that you're going to have. Everyone is not there to make your life easy, right?
Yeah.
You are not the center of any attraction, right? You are no one's even looking at you,
Yeah.
right? You are worth nothing. You're dog shit. That is the first realization that I think everyone needs to have. Like
Yeah.
nobody gives a fuck about you,
Yeah.
right? You're as important as the dog that's being petted, next to you. So I think that is your bubble bursts. I think that is very, very important. When your bubble bursts, you finally breathe the real air, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
not the
Yeah, you're not lying on the luxury of what your parents have done anymore. Like, it doesn't matter where you're coming from, you're on your own.
yeah, and it's not about how rich or poor your family was. It's not about that. It's no matter whether you were living in a 10 bedroom or like a one bedroom.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right? It's about the comfort. It's about the comfort that you're used to. And yeah, I think that is pretty much it. Don't stay home. Broaden your horizon.
Yeah. Travel a
Get
lot, go
get
out,
more perspective.
stay on your own.